You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Okay, I'm in. How are you?
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Long time no see, my man.
I know, man. I missed you, man.
I
Yeah, good.
miss you. Every time I text you, you leave me on red. I'm like, it's your favorite. Red. Keith. Red. How many Keiths do you know? So then I was like, Reza. Red. And you're like, oh, hey.
Yes, yes. What's up? How you been, man?
I'm okay, buddy. How are you?
Good, man. Just grinding like everybody else on the way to the haha tonight.
Oh, the Haha is one of my favorite clubs.
Yeah. Yep.
I like it because it's so intimate. Like it only fits like 140. And it's like one of those clubs where uh you could feel freely to bomb and Jack won't be too pissed. You know what I mean?
hmm I think the fact that also Jack Senior and
Yeah.
Terry are very gracious to let us go up, but the fact that his son also does stand up, he understands the struggle. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
More than anybody. So
I
he's
met the son. Yeah. I
oh,
don't
you
like bombing
met
in front of Jack and
the son.
Terry.
Yeah, but they're still forgiving. It's
Yeah.
still forgiving because they get it.
Yeah. So how have you been, man? Because when COVID hit, you were on a big tour and then it
Uh-huh.
hit. So
Yes.
like what happened with that? Are you back on that big tour? Because you were doing
Uh
Spanish comedy for a while.
yeah, I was doing Spanish comedy for a while. I had just flown in back from Guatemala on a sold out show. But as soon as I landed in March, manager calls me and says, hey, the rest of the Latin American tour's canceled. We're coming back home. There's this thing called COVID that's affecting everybody, and they're shutting down the borders. So if you leave again to the next show, you won't be able to come back in. So I was like,
Yeah.
until they figure this thing out. So I was like, okay, I'm grounded. COVID, I don't know if it ended, but we've overcome so much now. We kind of get a somewhat of an idea what it is, but
Right.
we're out and doing shows now. But then you have, like, for example, I was booked for San Luis Rio Colorado last October in 2022, and it was my first time going back to Latin America. And the promoter of the event goes, we're gonna have to cancel it. Why? The cartel is just shooting up the town right now. No,
Jesus.
nobody's getting permits to perform or sell any liquor. That's the way they control the nightlife there. They'll end the permits for selling liquor, so you're not allowed to sell liquor. So now nobody's gonna go out. And so the guy's like, I don't think you should come. I said, I don't think I should go either. They're shooting up the town. So after analyzing all of this, I spoke to my wife. My wife's like, yeah, what's the purpose? Why are you going? Because we live in an era where your Spanish comedy can transcend borders now because of the fan base that you have. People will look for you, and and people in Colombia and Venezuela can see you thanks to YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. So why don't we focus on that? Why don't you focus on the fact that you live in California and you have so many outlets for Spanish comedy? There's
Yeah.
no need for you to go to Latin America and get pesos.
Yeah.
So obviously you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it for the experience. But right now is not a good time to go experience Latin America.
It's also like a unique experience because there's not a lot of comedians who are doing this. You know what I
Well,
mean?
when I first started 2014, 2013, and I'm saying that officially doing stand up in Spanish, I've always did Spanish comedy, but then in 2013, 2014, it started blossoming in Mexico. Now, with Netflix releasing some of these Spanish specials, it really opens the horizon to everybody. Now you have in the entire Latin America now, fairly new, I'll give you that, but they understand what stand up is
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah. I remember back in the days, like I was just because I gave you a great intro and I was telling the folks at home that you were one of the first headliners to give me a lot of stage time and I opened up for you for a while and I was very grateful for you.
Thank you, buddy. No,
Yeah.
thank you for working. Everybody needs a chance. Everybody needs a spot. Everybody needs an opportunity.
Yeah. And then you delete my number.
I delete your number, bro. What am I
So
gonna do?
Richard, I wanted to ask you because your wife is very supportive. She's always been very supportive of your comedy. And I remember when you got married and you had a child, she said, "Listen, I want you to either go all in or I want you to stop."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it seems like you went all in.
Well, this is the thing is when I was with my wife and we decided, hey, we're gonna have this child. Um, it wasn't like you made that decision. Like it was just like, hey, we've been together for 4 years now. Keep in mind, I did want a child. I wanted everything, but I put things in perspective in my life. Um, I looked for happiness instead of success.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I realized something in the world that we live in now that nobody's gonna care for me but my daughter. You understand? That's my legacy.
Right.
Meaning it doesn't matter how much I do in the comedy world, how much I accomplish as a comedian, it could all be taken away for one mistake in the world we live in today,
Especially now. Yeah.
especially now. So the only person that will forever be attached to me will be my daughter because that is my daughter. Now, if I do a great job as a dad, if I raise her entire life and I'm there for her and I guide her and I teach her my morals and ethics and our culture, and by the time she grows up, I'll make mistakes and she'll know that I'm not perfect. But at the end of the day, she'll know exactly who I am. The rest of the
Right.
world won't. So even if I make a mistake, or even if you tell her your dad's a monster, she's gonna reply to them and say, to you, to me, he was the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
So if I can have that at the end of my life, if I can have that my kid loves me at the end of my life, that is success. That is happiness, not money, not shows, not theaters, not tours.
Well,
So
you
I
have a very good heart too, because I remember on my birthday, you came over and had lunch with me and my family. It
I,
was like, you
I was
remember
just
that?
yeah, I was broke and I didn't have any money. So I said, man, if I go to his birthday party, I'm pretty sure they're gonna give me lunch.
I
Now
graduated college, and on for my birthday, I said, Richard, let's go to Islands with my family. And you
and I
came.
said, yes, 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 because like anything else, we don't get to have other friends, but comedy friends. Do you
Yeah.
understand? So why? Because every weekend we are working. And we are working with our friends. We become friends. We spend so much time together. We start building a relationship. So when you were graduating college, I already knew you were going to college. So we had already had these conversations that, oh yeah, I'm still going to school. I'm almost going to graduate. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So by the time you said, oh, I'm graduating, I said, oh shit, this happened. Let's go. I felt like I was a part of this. Now let's go to islands. Let's have a good time. So you are my friend. We are all our friends. All the comedians, we're all friends just because the nature of the beast, man. We don't get
Yeah.
to have real friends like other, what I mean, real traditional friends, meaning
Yeah.
I'll see you Saturday for the barbecue. No, I'll see you Wednesday at the
Yeah.
I'll see you Thursday at the comedy store. That's how
I
you see your friends.
100%.
Yeah.
And but the thing that's very unique about you, you're one of these comics where, for example, like I'm gonna just give you an example, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You know how like everyone says like Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr is the best comic ever. You know what I mean? Like you've heard that, you know? To me, I don't think so because Dave Chappelle and Bill Burr don't make me happy. Richard Villa makes me happy. You know what I mean? So like whenever I hear your name, I just I'm like, "Oh my God, he's my buddy. I know Richard
Yeah.
Villa." And
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter like if you have a bad set or not. I'm always going to support you and always be going to be proud of you.
Well, that's what buddies do, bro. That's what friends do. I mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you're not perfect. I'm not perfect, but it's those moments, the people that they hear your name and go, hey, it brings me a good memory. It's
Yeah.
funny because these young guys that I hang out with right now, they'll drive me
You have
around like,
like your own entourage now.
no, and then it's not an entourage. It's, I mean, for example, Keith, nobody told you how to become a stand-up. Nobody tells you where you go to become a stand-up or how many courses you have to. There is no guideline for this. So what you do is you just have to gravitate to people that are already doing what you want to do, right?
Yeah.
So you learn by being present. You learn by showing up at the store, at the haha, at the improvs, and hanging out and socializing with other comics. And little by little, we start guiding each other. So these young guys that just happen to live local here around here, they'll say, hey, I'll drive you. I'll pick you up. I'll go with you to your gig. All right, why? Their best interest, their interest in there is I'm gonna make a connection. Maybe I get booked the next time I come. I'll get to meet somebody else. You know, that's
Maybe get a guest spot. Yeah.
maybe get a guest spot. So because they're young, they're willing to put in the work, just like I did it for Jeff Garcia, for Willie Barcena, for everybody else. So that being said, these guys will hear stories of me, and he says, Richard, every time we bring up your name, a comedian will go, oh, Richard was the first one to, and then they'll say it.
Yeah.
Take me on the road, book me at the Improv, give me my first gig, give me my first paid gig, get me on TV first, put me on a movie. Like they always have, Richard gave me my first something. And they crack up every time. It says, every watch, let's go to anybody, and they'll pick somebody and say, hey, you know, Richard Villa. Oh, Richard Villa, he was the first one to.
Yeah. But I like, see, to me, that is your legacy. I think that's amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because,
But it comes with a price.
Yeah.
You understand? I discussed this the other day on another podcast. Was I did it out of fear. I did it out of fear of failing. I felt like if I took on helping everybody else, I can mask the fact, or at least use an excuse why I didn't make it, quote unquote, what people say, right? So it's like you need to do your homework, but you start cleaning your house.
Yeah.
Just to avoid the fact that you have to do your homework. So I think refried for me was that I was so scared of success, or having to really believe in me, that I rather believe in everybody else, because it was an easier cop out.
Right.
And now in my life at 45, now I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to focus on me. That doesn't mean I don't help people. I'm going to help everybody along the way, but really focus on me. Like, what does Richard Villa want to do from this point on? Because I've planted so many seeds, and I have so many friends that I can count on, that it's great. I love the fact that I have that. But now I really want to get selfish and go, how do I want the story to end?
Right.
I get to dictate that. So
I totally get that, because like when I run shows where, you know, obviously I want to help people out, but I also want to help myself out. Like I want to do good shows because that's where I'm strongest at. You know what I mean? And if
yeah.
I can't do a good show, I feel that I'm failing everyone who's on the show.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, don't put yourself in that situation. Don't beat yourself up in that sense that it's your fault. It's not your fault. It is what it is. The shows sometimes are good, sometimes they suck.
Yeah.
But like anything else, bro, you shake it off. You fucking do it again tomorrow. But it's nice that you do help other people out. And trust me, nobody's gonna blame you for a bad show. You understand?
You never blamed me, and I booked you at some pretty bad shows.
Well, yeah, but it's not your fault, man. We're good. We're all grown men. Listen, regardless, I go up there and I'll still perform. I'll give him the full Richard V experience. I don't care.
do you remember we did Centerfield?
Centerfield.
Like, I don't know, 12 years ago, and the crowd was just bad, and you were on stage and you're like, hey, I'm performing in front of a dartboard. Does anyone want to buy some darts from the bartender?
Yeah, anything? Huh? What are we doing here? And then I had some guy heckle me, and his brother was a comic.
Oh my God.
And he wanted to get booked at the refried shows. And his brother came in and he was like, I don't know, just fucking heckling me. And I was like, shut the fuck up. And then his brother calls me and apologizes. I told him, don't worry about it. It wasn't you. It was your brother. It was the asshole.
Yeah. Did the brother ever do refried?
Yeah, I think maybe. I have no idea, man. Dude.
You should have stayed with that would have been like, hey, you're forgiving too.
Yeah, I'm forgiving, but I'm not sure. So I would hate for him to call you in and say, hey, that motherfucker never booked me. I don't know if I did or not.
He's probably one of those guys who like, because a lot of people that I've noticed that I started comedy with, I would say the people I started with, Grant Cotter and Jen Murphy, Rosie Tran, like those are the only three names that I could think of that are still doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's what it's like about comedy is like every single year it seems like there's more comedians, but there's more that fall off the wagon.
Yeah. And it's listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Meaning some people maybe see the truth. Meaning, for example, when you see certain things that you thought or you had a perception of, maybe you thought comedy was going to be like this and it doesn't live up to your expectation, it's okay for you to switch gears. Don't look at it as a failure. You just realize, hey, trial and error, this doesn't fucking work for me, I'm out.
Yeah.
I got to see and experience, like you said, I was traveling and I was working with these huge names and going all over the country. But I also got to see behind the curtain of what all of that entails. And it didn't impress me, and I didn't want it. You know what I mean? It almost scared me in a sense where I was like, yes, you give me all of this, but I lose all of this. Do you understand?
Right.
The headliners that I'm working with have to run to their hotel rooms and hide because they're going to be mobbed. They can't just go out and have a fucking dinner because all of a sudden they can't even just eat because everybody's staring. You can't scream or express yourself the way you want because people are watching and everybody has a camera now. So you're trying to sell me this? So people say, well, by then you can have so much money, you can hire security. So I'm putting myself back into a fucking cage?
Right.
I made all this fucking money and now I'm famous, but now I'm going to use all that fucking money to protect myself from the things that I wanted, which was fame.
Well, see, that's the thing that people don't understand about fame is because, you know, uh, I mean, let's be honest, we both have some fame to a degree where, and it's not to the point that, you could have a bad day, and if you don't want to take a picture, you don't want to take a picture, and then you're considered a dick. You know what I mean?
Well, this happened to me. I was just talking to my buddy about it. I have a puppy. My little girl wanted a puppy. She called him Gerald for whatever reason, right? So it's Gerald, her puppy. And when I say a puppy, it's a pretty heavy dog, about this big, and it's a rescue. So I don't know what the fuck's mixed with. You know what I mean? So now I need to take him to the groomer. As I'm taking him to the groomer, he lets go of the leash and starts running everywhere, running into traffic, running in the parking lot, and I'm screaming, Gerald, Gerald, Gerald. And like a crazy man. And this dog wouldn't fucking come to me.
You didn't know his name was Gerald.
No, yeah, exactly. Probably that. So at the corner of my eye, I see a guy videotaping me. He gets off his Honda Civic, parks to the side, and he's videotaping me. And I go, what's up? He says, are you Richard Villa? I said, yeah. Oh my God, me and my wife wait at the end of the night so we can sit in bed and we watch your videos. Oh, you're so funny. We love you. I've been waiting for 10 minutes to take a picture. I see that you're busy with your dog. And I've been screaming the whole time. He asked me a video of me going, Gerald, get in here. And I'm like, what the fuck? All right. So I tell him, well, why don't you help me get the dog? If you've seen me for the last 10 minutes struggling, why don't you help me with the dog? And then I'll give you a proper picture, man.
Yeah.
And so now I'm screaming, Gerald, and he's not helping. He's just still standing there with the phone. I say, help me. He goes, shh, shh. I was like, never mind. Yeah. So I decided I'm going to take a picture with him now so he can leave. And he took a picture and he left because what's going to happen to this dog, I don't need anybody to record it. You understand? Right. Gerald's going to get it. And I don't want this guy recording me losing it with Gerald.
Right. But
that is
especially if your daughter finds out on TikTok.
You were screaming at Gerald, Dad. I saw it on TikTok. How dare you? What the hell? I saw what you did to Gerald. I don't need that in my life. Yeah. So, and that's fame. That's fame. That's the fact that you can't go get your dog groomed and just have a bad day because now it's recorded and there you go.
Yeah. Your Gerald story reminds me of the old Billy Crystal joke where he says, yeah, so my 8th birthday, my dad and we went to the circus and we left my dog Skip. We took him in and we dropped him off the vet and we went to the circus and we had fun. We saw the lions, the clowns, the popcorn, a great night for a birthday. And then we came home and my dad tucks me into bed. I was like, holy crap, Dad, we forgot about Skip. And my dad says, oh, we had to put him down, son, And I was like, but you put my dog down on my birthday? And my dad said, well, it was on the way to the circus.
There you go. It's convenient. I mean, it's brutal. It's brutal.
It's
So
one of those jokes that it's so stupid that no matter what, it's funny. You
I
know what
like
I
it.
mean?
It's dark. It's dark as fuck.
Yeah.
Keith, any girlfriend, man? Any ladies? Are you dating anybody right now?
No, man. I mean, I'm very bad at talking to the ladies. I mean, you know that. Like, it's just it's because like obviously all I want to do is comedy, and I would love to have like a girlfriend, but my heart is more into comedy and more writing. So like if I have a date or something and I have a gig or deadlines on these scripts, I'll literally forget about them. Not because I don't care about them, but because
Shit has to get done.
yeah,
Shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Listen, take advantage of it. Don't rush into it. If that's your objective, do it. Don't
Yeah.
sweat it. And don't let me or anybody else pressure you into anything else, bro. When you're ready, you're ready. And trust me, when you're rich and famous, it'll be easier.
Oh no. Well, see, here's the thing about me where like I feel I would definitely be a good father.
Mhm.
However, I feel I would be a terrible significant other. Does that make sense?
Oh, of course. Totally.
So I
Totally.
don't know if that compliments me or if that makes me like a worse person, but like if I'm being honest, I think that's the honest answer.
Yeah. No, at least you know, and understand that. But by all means, don't let anybody just make decisions for you. You decide, hey, I want to
Yeah.
have a kid, I don't want to have, and you don't have to live by anybody's standards either, man. Society, you can be a single man, fucking keep doing comedy.
Yeah.
As long as you're happy, man. Do whatever makes you happy. I told
Yeah.
you what makes me happy. So do you understand the difference? We don't have to be the same. You find your happiness anywhere you find it, doing whatever you want.
Well, one of the things that makes me happy is talking to you and seeing you smile. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Seeing
Uh
Richard Villa. I saw you on the TMZ. How many times have you been on the TMZ in the past two
TMZ.
years?
No, I think it was just the reruns of TMZ. But
Oh,
back when
really?
I was doing refried, yeah, they were talking about what you pee. What would happen if you need to pee and you're driving? So you pee in a bottle, man. That's it. Pee in a bottle, you be all set.
So that was a rerun? I was gonna say, it looks pretty young.
Yeah, no, it was a rerun. I just looked fucked up for years, man. Getting
Who
older
who
is not easy.
who is the most famous person who did refried?
Mm, well, I mean,
Because you had everybody.
everybody. I mean, I had Kevin Hart, I had
Holy.
Chappelle, I had Chris Rock, I had Louis C.K., George Lopez. Got it. No, I'm sorry. No. I had all of those guys. Even Steve Martin came down with when he was working at the Oscars with what's his name?
Margin short?
Just one of those guys. Yes, they were
Yeah.
working the material out. And remember, they were just running around. The only person that never did refright, Gabriel did it, Carlos Mencia did, everybody did. George Lopez didn't.
Yeah.
George Lopez, I asked him, and he just said nope. He was the
Yeah.
only one that never did. For 10 years, we did the refright show Friday nights at the Hollywood Improv, and George never wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like,
so weird because like I've asked George to do my podcast. He said yes, and then he just ghosted me. So I'm like, huh. So like I think maybe either he's very, very busy or maybe he doesn't enjoy helping comics and he just says he does. You know what I mean?
oh, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if he's the one answering his
Yeah,
social
yeah.
media too. No, but I asked him personally. I asked
Oh,
him,
right.
it wasn't an email. It was just like, would you like to do refright? And he just said, nah, I'm good. I said, all right. I mean,
Was George Lopez one of your comedy heroes when you started?
no, I'm different. I'm cut from a different cloth, Keith. I didn't grow up watching Richard Pryor. I
Yeah.
love Richard Pryor. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a genius, but that wasn't what influenced my comedy. I didn't grow up watching Paul Rodriguez. Once again, very talented. Now, what influenced me was Spanish stand-up comedians like Polo Polo, Luis de Alba, Rafael Inclán, any sexy comedias, any of these Mexican comedies is what really sparked my interest when it came to comedy because my dad was a huge fan of comedy. but I can only enjoy it when it was in Spanish. So my influences came from there. The mannerisms, the characters, different phrases you would say. El Chavo del Ocho, a lot of that humor, my humor comes from there. But I've managed to make it into an English version of it. Does that make
Right.
sense? Like this is what Latinos or Mexicans specifically comedies like, and then I just said it in English now. So for me to make that transition to Spanish was very easy
Right.
in that sense because I already understood the double entendres. I understood all of that stuff.
Now, but see, like it would be hard for someone like me to do an entire, hour in Spanish because I only know like 3 words in Spanish.
Yeah, it would be hard for me to do a German set in
Right.
Spanish because I don't know any German either. So
We
that's why-
we should start learning German and like make that our New Year's goal for next year and be like,
yeah,
we're gonna
then Germany
tour Germany.
gets invaded by Russia, and then what the hell were we learning German for? We're not even around anymore. They got invaded by Russia. We learned the
Uh,
language. We
yeah.
have to learn Greek, or was it? Yeah.
Uh, for it was so weird because I was talking to my dad. This was
Mhm.
like maybe 3 months ago, and I was because I did this gig in Charleston, Illinois, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's so peaceful. There's nobody there, and it's like they don't care about social media and stuff, and it's just a forest, and it's just like their school is a castle, so it's like medieval time kind of. There's no Uber. You literally walk. You know, I thought it was just so beautiful and peaceful because it's a different lifestyle that I've been living. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
my dad was like, what do you want? What's the end goal of your life? What do you want to do? And I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe retire in Charleston, Illinois, because I could do stand up there. I'm the most famous person there, and I could just walk and just be at peace, you know? And then I was thinking, or I could move to Turkey. And then my dad said, but Turkey is a totally different language. And I didn't know that. I thought Turkey was just a place in Europe, you know, full
That
of
spoke English?
turkeys.
That what?
They're full of turkeys.
No.
That's what I thought. So I'd be like, I'd just be creaming and like every Thanksgiving, I'll just get a turkey. But no, that's not it at all. Tells you my stupidity intelligence.
This fucking guy.
But
Uh,
comedy, it's one of those things where like regardless if I get more famous or if I get more rich or whatever, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It
yeah.
makes me feel like a better
Look,
person.
it's 1:48 p.m. in the afternoon in California, and we're chit-chatting, bro. There's a guy stuck in traffic right now. There's a guy just going into work. There's a guy that's still working right now. Do you
Right.
understand how lucky we are? Like I already know I shouldn't complain.
Yeah.
God punishes you, bro. God punishes you. Oh, really? You want to complain? Your life's not good? I'll show you what bad life is. You're doing roofing now for a living. Now that's fucking fucked up, man.
Yeah, dude,
Those-
definitely. Especially if it rains. Holy
Yeah,
Lord.
you're screwed. No, it's good when it rains. They get to stay home, but no money.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
Yeah, if it rains
I
out.
thought that was one of those jobs where like if you're a hooker and it rains, you still have to make money.
No, no, no. Those are
Oh my
TikTokers. Uh
Now, Richard, I wanted to ask you about feuds, because I know you've had some, but I wanted
Mhm.
to ask your opinion on the mature way because now it seems like you're very mature, you're wiser and stuff. So, what's advice where if you could go back in time, what would you tell yourself to like maybe not get into these disagreements and just focus on your goal?
I would tell myself in 2003. Was it 2003? No, no, it's 2001 when I first started. I would have pulled myself aside and said, "Listen, Richard, don't be scared. You're very funny. Um, nobody's gonna believe in you. You're gonna have to believe in yourself. Okay. It's gonna be scary, it's gonna be tough. But at the end of the day, everything works out okay. So, but Don't do anything. I mean, but you first have to believe that you can actually do this. If I could have gave myself that advice, and the second advice I would have gave myself is don't listen to other people. Nobody knows who you are but you. Listen to you. I listened to so many people, and so many people would put me in categories. They would say, you're this, you're a Latino comic, you're this kind of comic, your comedy is this, your comedy is that. You should do this, you should do that. And I kept listening to a bunch of guys that are in the same fucking boat as me.
Right.
How the fuck do you know this? Because if you didn't know this, you wouldn't be talking to me about this. So if I could have went back, I would have told myself, don't listen to the people around you. Listen to the people that are doing what you want to do, and then go follow those guys. Listen to how they got there.
Yeah. I think that's great advice because I think when you're doing
Yeah.
comedy and you're in with your peers and like say someone has a little more success, so you obviously want to listen to them because you know they seem to be on the right track, but then you don't realize that their track's already been written. You know what I mean?
Or it's a totally different destination. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Yes, you say Richard is successful. Yeah, but Richard also can go to Latin America, Peru, Venezuela, and do all. I can't do that, so I'm not going to do what Richard did. Richard does what Richard does. I do what I do, and you got to understand. Nobody can tell you how to be you, and that's something I didn't understand as a young comic. Now, as an older comic, now I realize, listen, I know my voice. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to portray up there on the stage. I know how I want to deliver it. And other people come to me and say, hey, you should do this. I say, thanks, buddy. But I mean, if it's not a tag to a joke, I don't need you to tell me how to be on stage.
Right.
And
No, I
I,
hate that too.
don't tell me, oh, you should do more of this. You should bring more props. You should do nah. I know what the fuck I'm doing. If you don't
You know,
want to tag my shit.
that happens to me too because like when I go on stage, people will always, I would say maybe 50% of the time they'll say, hey, you remind me so much of Norm Macdonald. And it's like, well, I toured with him for 9 years, so obviously I have mannerisms, and he was my best friend, and you know what I mean. He was like my
Yeah.
comedy dad. So
Mhm.
I mean, I take that as a compliment in a way, but I also don't want to be known as Norm Macdonald Jr. I want to be known as Keith Reza.
Listen, then keep being Keith. And,
Yeah.
and listen, if you sound like Norm Macdonald, if that's what sounds to you, if when you decide that sounds like Norm Macdonald, I don't want to do it. I'm not gonna do it that way. But don't force it.
No, no, you
It'll
can't
come
force
to
it.
you. And once again, it's a rhythm. Yes. You can say I follow that tempo. That's fine. Your material's still original. Do you understand? Your point of view is the original part of this.
Yeah,
There's salsa, and there's 100 people that sing salsa.
that's true.
You understand?
Yeah,
There's rap, and there's a million rappers. It's
yeah,
what you rap about that I give a fuck about.
exactly.
Not that you have the same fucking rhythm as Norm Macdonald.
Yeah,
Because we're not going to hear that rhythm anymore.
yeah,
Do you
because
understand?
he's gone.
It's gone. So what you're doing is, yeah, because you were with him, you picked up a lot of mannerisms, but at the end of the day, little by little, you'll start developing your own mannerisms. And
Yeah.
somebody else is going to copy your shit.
I can't wait.
Your mannerism. You understand? They
Oh
say
no,
you
I get
follow
it.
his rhythm. Yeah, motherfucker, it's called salsa. This is what we do.
You
There's a
know,
salsa. Go ahead.
there's somebody who does do one of my old jokes, but I haven't done it in like 6 years. It's on my very first 30-minute special, which for the audience, Richard's brother directed.
My first special, my
Yeah,
first everything. What did I tell you, bro? Everybody has a first with Richard.
yeah.
It's becoming an ongoing joke.
But let's talk about that for example, because you know, you have two specials, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something. Do you feel, and I just want an honest answer, do you feel your second special like you're more proud of, and do you feel ashamed of your first special,
I
or
don't
vice versa?
I Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Some of my first specials a little cringy for me now as a seasoned comic because I know some of that stuff was a lot very low hanging fruit. Does that
Right.
make sense? So I was like, I could have done better. But now as a seasoned comic, I'm revamping those old jokes and then putting my emotional state in what I was feeling or where I was in my life when I thought of this joke. And so like,
Right.
I'm peeling the onion per se, like Willie would say, and I'm digging deeper into my mindset. Why did I say that back then? What was I really trying to say? Because now I can decipher these things. Back when I was a young comic, I couldn't tell the difference between low hanging fruit or hacky shit or any of that stuff. But now, as a 22-year-old comic, I can look at a joke and even my old material, and I love fucking rewriting it. Even though
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it again, at least I know I have the skills to make it not hacky or
Right.
more original or make it more personal. So yeah, it's an experience. You have to go through that shit to get to the honey. Does that make sense? You have to go through hell.
100%.
And so now you put yourself in another level where you go, I cannot deliver the same shit I delivered last time. So I got to work harder. Now
Right.
I've developed the skills to write better.
So like what I was gonna say is because my first special, it was a 30-minute special, and I'm ashamed of it. I hated it. I think it's the worst. I think it's terrible. And then my hour special, I'm very, very, very proud of. I think it's the best thing in the world. I personally think it's the best stand-up special ever. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
it's funny how personalities can change in just 7 years. You know what I mean?
You'll forgive yourself. I'm
Yeah,
telling you, when I in 7 years when I saw my special, I cringed. At
yeah,
22 years of a comedian, I get it. I understood myself. Do you understand? I forgave myself 22 years later from making that special, my first one to now. I said, I forgive you, Richard. Forgive yourself, bro. Forgive yourself for that fucking shitty half hour. Shit. Ask forgiveness from every person that ever bought it from you. Make a listen, guys. I need to get this off my chest. At the time, I thought it was funny, guys. At the time, I thought I didn't do this with any malice. I just thought this was brilliant, and I sold it to you. But if you realize now what I realize that is shit, I'm sorry. I'm still not gonna give you your money back, but I am sorry.
one of the jokes I used to do when I was selling the first special, because I made like 3,000 of them, so I had to sell them. I would I would do the show, and if I had a great set, I would sell a lot. If I had a bad set, I would be like, "Well, OC Weekly said this was the funniest half-hour comedy special of 2011," which is true. Which I don't know why they wrote that. I think I was the only OC comic who really not the point. So then I would say that, and then I remember I'm bombing earlier, and then I'd be like, unless they were here today, they'd be like, we changed our mind.
That's hilarious. Oh my god. Okay, so LA Weekly has something to do with the blame too. So fucking throw them under the bus too. Or OC Weekly, whoever the fuck printed that lie.
I wanted to another. I have two more questions because I wanted to respect your time. One, I wanted to know what's it like. What was it like being on Real Rob?
Real Rob.
Yeah.
Um, the best part is I'm flying in from shooting Comedy Central Latin America.
Hmm.
And as soon as I fly in that Friday, they call me on the day before my birthday. His wife knows me and says, "Hey, Richard, do you want to be on Real Rob? We need a guy that comes and plays a plumber. You have these lines. You think you can get this done?" And it was literally, it's not an audition. It's just like literally just friendship, connections. And she said, I'm flying you out tomorrow. It's my birthday. Perfect. We'll celebrate your birthday in Miami. So I fly out to Miami the very next day. That's how it happens, guys. It's not that I auditioned for Real Rob. It's his wife knew me from Spanish comedy, and she produced a Spanish stand-up show. So it's just business. She said, I need a Latino guy that can deliver these lines in the next 2 days or in the next day. So the very next day, fly me out. I spent my birthday in Miami with Rob Schneider and the whole crew. I had a great time recording it. And they were just really nice. And the fact that I admire the fact that Rob Schneider put the entire project on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He was paying me. They were the ones providing all of this. You know what I mean? He was picking up the tab for all of this.
Because this is before he sold it, right?
Yeah. This is before he sold it. Remember, this is just all of us believing in Rob Schneider's dream. Like, all right, let's go, let's do it. So even Joey Medina was in it. A bunch of other comedians were in there, and I can see that he pulled all his resources to make this happen. But I admire that. I admire that of any comic that says, I'm not going to wait for the industry to give me what I need. I'm going to tell the industry this is what you need, and
Right.
produce and direct, and good for him. He has the means to do that.
Yeah. Rob, because I know you toured with him a little. Rob Schneider is a comic who, one, I think he would actually just love my humor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we would be a good team. But I've never, whenever I've gotten the opportunities to meet him or whatever, I've never followed through, I guess. You know what I mean?
Can I give you an advice that Steve Martin wrote in his book that now I follow?
Yeah.
I opened for a lot of people, a lot of famous people. I've opened for a lot of them. And Steve Martin in his book, he writes, I'd rather do a C club, I'd rather do a B club, be the headliner, than be at an A club and be the feature.
Yeah.
Nobody remembers the feature. Nobody remembers the opening act. When the people come and write articles, they don't write articles about the feature or the opening act.
That's true.
Yeah, I would rather be the shittiest place, but I'm the headliner, meaning I'm the star of this night. Don't look for Rob Schneider anymore.
Yeah. I just wanted to interview him. I'm just saying.
To interview him, but but in terms, I thought to work with him.
No. I was just saying, I think he would really dig my favorite comic right now is, I'm sure you know him, is Jamie Lysol. Do you know Jamie?
No, but it's okay.
He wrote Real Robs, and
I did meet him then.
Yeah,
the writing was there. Yes.
He has glasses and black hair.
Yes,
he is so funny, and he's a guy who tours with Rob, and I watched his Dryball comedy special, and I thought it was just so unique. I mean, obviously there was Rob mannerisms in there, but he made me laugh the entire time. And I'm just thinking, how come no one has made this guy a superstar? Because he has it. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, look up his comedy. You'll fall in love with him.
Yeah, it's not time. That's it, man. Just keep. I feel that way about a lot of comics too, where I go, shit, man, why is this guy not funny? I mean, I'm sorry, not funny, not famous, not funny. Maybe that's why he's not famous. No, why is this guy not famous? This guy's fucking hilarious. Yeah. Ralph Barbosa. Do you know who that is?
No.
That's my new favorite comic. I saw Rob Barbosa. He's blowing up. He's on the Jimmy, or he was there last night or tonight. He'll be on late night with Jimmy. But he's just, as soon as I saw him at the Laugh Factory, and I'm like, you had me dying. And you understand, it's been 22 years of me watching comedy.
Right.
For somebody to make me just burst out cracking up. I was like, who the hell is this kid?
Right.
I had to go meet him. I said, dude, kid, you got it. You're going to be a mega star. And like 8 months later, boom, he's on the Jimmy. He has social media blows up. He's on HBO. He's all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, man.
And you gave him his first start.
No, I didn't. I didn't. Not that guy. But I was really, that was the last time that somebody really had me going, like laughing. That guy has just his set was fucking flawless. Yeah. Every line, he cut the fat off of it. It was great.
And then my last question is, because your history in comedy is so interesting, and the older you get, the more success you're getting by doing Spanish comedy and stuff. Have you ever thought of trying to write a book or something to write down your thoughts on how you succeeded it?
I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll write something. Just and it's not gonna be how to succeed. It's just so you get a glimpse or a perspective of what the times were back when I started doing all of this, because when I started in 2001, George Lopez was one of the hottest comics in the country.
Yeah.
The Latino right now, that first George Lopez CD that came out in 2001 was the biggest boom to Latino culture. Que Locos blew up. Calavisión was promoting the hell out of it. So we had a lot of these new networks that were called Spanglish networks that were really thriving. And at that moment, being Latino was the hottest thing. I mean, shit, we got the Refresh show going and it was selling out every Friday night. So
it was 10 o'clock shows too for the folks at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if I write this book, I would want to make it almost like an eyewitness to the transition that happened in comedy in that moment. And now, believe it or not, bro, as we're having this conversation 10 years from now, Spanish comedy in the US is going to be completely normal, meaning stand up. The improv, after 50 years, are like, what's the biggest change that the improv has made in 50 years? He says, now we have to ask, are you here for the Spanish show or the English show?
Right.
50 years, we never had to ask that question. Now we ask it. Why? Because Richard showed up and he brought every Latino to the improvs. You know what I mean? And he says, here's Spanish comedy. And what happened? Our society, people who live amongst us, all of them say, we want this. This is the product we want. So I can see this blowing up in the future, Spanish comedy. Especially, look at what's going on in the border. You're talking about entire Latin America is coming towards the U.S. Venezuelans are here. It's not just Mexicans. It's every culture. And they all have one common thing is they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Now, if we lose the workforce in China, if we lose that workforce in China, Mexico will become that workforce. Here, if we need more crops, if we need to grow up or manufacture more things, now we have to stand on our own as Americans. We're going to need Venezuelans, Guatemalans. We're going to need everybody because our society has decreased. Understand? I only have one kid. How old are you?
Let's say 33.
33. Let's say 33. I don't care, but you're not having kids. Do you understand?
Right.
That's not in your near future.
Yeah.
A lot of people think like you. The new generation that's coming, they think a lot like that. Less kids. I'd rather do what I want to do. I'd rather enjoy what I'm doing. Well, then who the fuck is going to make the cell phones? Who the fuck is going to make what we need?
Yeah. I get that. I'm
Right?
just saying age is not important to me only because I lie about it.
Yeah, it's okay. but to your answer of the book, I think it's going to be interesting for people to read what I was already thinking in 2001, 2002. I foresaw the future and I said, Spanish comedy is going to be the shit here.
Yeah, because because I know you and I have a relationship with you. I've always gotten that energy that you could write a really good book.
Oh, it'll come, but I think I would want to do it that way. Not that I'm teaching you how to be successful. I'm just telling you as an eyewitness what happened.
Yeah.
And how all of that affected my life. Just a story like anything else. You know what I mean? But you'll get a glimpse of what it was to do comedy in 2000s.
Well, Richard, where can the folks at home follow and support you?
At Richard Comedy on my platforms. Go to my website at richardvilla.com. That's it. Or Richard Villa Comedy on all my platforms.
Well, I'm glad we finally got this done. This time it is recording. Last time we did it, it didn't record.
I know, right?
But it's you're one of my favorite human beings, man, and I just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being you.
And can I tell you something, Keith?
Yeah.
I believe you because you never lie.
I know. I do. That's the thing about having autism.
In this business, it's hard to find guys like you because what you told me is exactly what you feel. And in this business, it's hard to find that. So it's refreshing to meet people like that.
Yeah, especially when I call you out on stuff.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. That's what we're supposed to do as friends. We don't shit on each other all the time. and I'm not supposed to get mad. You're not supposed to get mad because we're friends. That's what friends do.
Richard, I love you, buddy. Have a great day. And,
you too, man. Say hi to the family, to your Bobs and everybody, man. All right.
Oh, I definitely will.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Bye.
All right. Bye, Richard.
Bye.
All right, guys. That was a show with Richard Villa. Subscribe, rate, review, and tell a friend. We'll see you next week.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.